Welcome to Biggest Spoilars, the destination for exclusive spoilers, latest updates.
Port Charles woke beneath soft winter haze, the harbor quiet, the church bell chiming faintly across town. It was supposed to be a hopeful morning, a baptism day, a day of blessings, of loved ones gathering to pray for new beginnings instead of plotting revenge, betrayal, or survival. But no one realized how fast that peaceful illusion would unravel. Britt Westbourne stood alone in a dim hallway of the church, one hand pressed against the cool stone wall. The baptism crowd murmured behind the big wooden doors, but Britt couldn't hear any of it clearly. Her pulse throbbed in her ears. Her vision blurred slightly around the edges. Her fingers trembled. A symptom. Another one. A reminder. Huntington's was catching up to her far faster than she had admitted to anyone. She closed her eyes and inhaled shakily. "Not today," she whispered. "Please. Just give me today." But even prayers weren't enough anymore. 2. Sidwell's shadow, and Britt's last debt. Sidwell, ruthless, cold, and always calculating, wasn't the kind of man people crossed without consequences. And Britt had been indebted to him in ways she didn't like to think about. Secrets, favors, information she was forced to provide. He thought he owned her. He thought she was someone he could control. And until today, Britt had been too sick, too scared, too exhausted to fight him. But today would change everything. Because Britt was finally ready to break free. But the price of freedom would be higher than anyone imagined. 3. Rocco's 6 words, the spark that destroys everything. The church pews were filled. Guests whispered. Lulu sat close to Dante, nervously smoothing Rocco's hair as he fidgeted with the collar of his tiny dress shirt. Rocco kept glancing toward the back, looking for Britt. He loved Britt. She made him laugh. She brought him candy. She listened to him when adults brushed him aside. Britt meant something to him. And he sensed something was wrong with her long before he could understand it. When she finally approached, he lit up. "Aunt Britt," he whispered loudly, arms out. She knelt and hugged him tightly, maybe a little too tightly. "You okay?" Rocco asked softly. Britt forced a smile. "Of course I'm okay." But Rocco stared into her eyes, really stared, with a seriousness almost unnatural for a boy his age. Then he said 6 words. 6 soft words that shattered the fragile armor around her heart. "You look like you're saying goodbye." Britt froze. Her breath caught. Her eyes stung. It felt like someone ripped open her chest and exposed every fear she'd tried to bury. She managed to whisper, "Rocco, sweetheart, what makes you say that?" But the little boy shrugged, honest in the way children are when they haven't learned to filter truths. "Because you look really sad." Those 6 words, "you look like you're saying goodbye," hit her harder than any medical result, any confrontation, any threat from Sidwell ever had. Rocco saw her pain. He saw her decline. He saw her fading hope. And that was the moment Britt snapped. Not from anger. From a realization. She couldn't let Sidwell control her anymore. She couldn't walk away quietly. She couldn't leave Port Charles with more regret than she already carried. Those 6 words made her choose her side. And it wasn't Sidwell's. 4. The baptism begins, but Britt is somewhere else entirely. As the priest gathered the family, beginning the ceremonial words, the church hummed with calm reverence. But Britt couldn't focus. Every heartbeat felt too fast. Every breath too thin. A spasm shot down her right hand, a Huntington's jerk she failed to hide. She pressed her hand to her stomach, choosing silence over panic. Dante noticed her trembling, but Britt nodded tightly, pretending nothing was wrong. The priest's voice echoed. "Bless this child and protect them through all the trials of this world." Trials. Protection. Britt felt those words like daggers. She tried to blink away dizziness. Her mind kept replaying Rocco's little voice. "You look like you're saying goodbye." She knew she had to do something before her body failed her again. Before Sidwell dragged her deeper into his schemes. Before she lost her last chance to make things right. Sidwell arrives, and Britt makes her choice. When Sidwell slid into the church, late as usual, Britt's stomach clenched. He always came too close. He always stared too long. He always whispered threats disguised as instructions. Today he leaned forward, breath cold against her ear. After the baptism, he murmured viciously, "We finish our business." Britt stiffened. She didn't turn. She didn't speak. Sidwell chuckled softly. What? Too emotional because of the kid, he taunted. Focus, Britt. You owe me. Then he added, quieter. And if you betray me, even once, you already know what I'll do. Britt closed her eyes. Rocco's 6 words echoed again in her head. No more fear. No more debt. No more control. She didn't care what Sidwell threatened. She wasn't letting him own her anymore. She stood up slowly, ignoring the startled looks around her. Sidwell grabbed her wrist. But Britt pulled free. For the first time in years, she didn't flinch. She turned and stared directly into Sidwell's eyes. And she told him, in a cold, clear whisper only he could hear. I'm done. Sidwell's eyes darkened with fury. But Britt didn't stay. She walked away from him. She walked away from the danger. She walked toward her future, whatever little of it she had left. 6. Dante and Lulu noticed the shift, and the tension rising. Dante whispered, something's wrong. She looks pale. Lulu nodded urgently. And Sidwell, he's watching her like she's his hostage. Dante clenched his jaw. Rocco tugged Britt's sleeve gently. Aunt Britt? Where are you going? Britt knelt again, lifting one shaking hand to cup his cheek. I'm not going anywhere, sweetheart, she whispered. Not until I do what's right. Her voice cracked. Rocco hugged her, a simple, sincere hug. And Britt felt something inside her break and heal at the same time. 7. The courtyard, where Britt's truth finally comes out. Britt stepped out into the church courtyard, needing air, needing space. Her breathing became uneven. Her vision dipped. Her legs wobbled. Dante rushed after her. Britt. Talk to me. What's wrong? She laughed, but it sounded hollow and tired. Everything, she admitted. Everything's wrong and I've been pretending it isn't. Her voice dropped. I'm sick, Dante. Worse than anyone knows. The Huntingtons, it's accelerating. Dante's eyes filled with pain. Britt. I don't have time, she interrupted. That's why Sidwell used me. That's why I'm done with him. I'm not wasting the rest of my life being someone's puppet. Dante grabbed her shoulders gently. We'll protect you. But Britt shook her head. This isn't about protection. This is about doing one good thing before my body takes everything away. 8. Sidwell makes his move, angry threats explode. Sidwell stormed into the courtyard, his rage barely contained. So that's it, he hissed. You think you can walk away? Britt didn't retreat. No. I am walking away. Sidwell's face twisted. You think those people inside will save you? You think Dante will protect you? You think that brat's little speech changed anything? Rocco's 6 words rang loudly in her memory. Sidwell stepped closer, raising his voice now, reckless, dangerous. You belong to me. Dante stepped between them instantly. Back off. Sidwell sneered. You want to protect her? Then you can bleed with her. He reached into his jacket. Dante reached for his weapon. Voices inside the church grew alarmed. But Britt. Britt moved faster. She stepped in front of Dante, blocking him. Sidwell, enough, she whispered harshly. Do what you want to me, but leave everyone else. Sidwell grabbed her arm violently. You should have kept your mouth shut. Britt jerked away again, but this time. Her body betrayed her. Her legs buckled. Her muscles spasmed. Her vision shattered like broken glass. It wasn't fear. It wasn't trauma. It was Huntington's. A catastrophic neurological collapse triggered by stress, exhaustion, adrenaline. Her body simply shut down. 9. Britt collapses into Dante's arms and slips into a coma. Britt's knees hit the ground. Her hands shook violently. Her speech slurred instantly. Dante, don't let. Sidwell. Her sentence dissolved. Her eyes fluttered. Then rolled back. Dante caught her before she hit the stone path. Britt. Britt, stay with me. But her body continued to seize. Her breathing grew shallow. Dante shouted for help. Lulu screamed for an ambulance. Church guests rushed out in panic. Rocco cried out in confusion and terror. Sidwell watched with an expression of disgusted annoyance, not guilt, not fear, not remorse. No, Dante growled, turning on Sidwell with explosive fury. You did this to her. But Sidwell shrugged. She was already broken. Those words detonated something inside Dante. He surged forward, pinning Sidwell against the wall. You want to make threats? Here's mine, Dante snarled. If she dies, you don't make it out of Port Charles alive. Sidwell smirked. Until Dante pulled out the cuffs. You're under arrest. The ambulance, where Britt's fate becomes uncertain. Doctors fought to stabilize Britt. Her vital signs crashed twice. Her neurological responses faded. Her breathing weakened. Dante held her hand tightly. Stay with me, Britt. Stay with us. You can't leave like this. But Britt didn't respond. Her expression slackened. Her eyelids stayed closed. The paramedic swallowed hard. She's slipping into a coma. 11. The hospital, and the news nobody wanted. Hours later, Dante, Lulu, and Rocco stood together outside Britt's room, staring at the unmoving figure on the bed. Machines beeped. Tubes ran everywhere. Her once bright eyes remained shut. The doctor approached them slowly. The stress caused a massive neurological event. Given her condition, she may not wake up. Rocco buried his face in Lulu's chest and sobbed. Dante's world fell silent. Britt, brilliant, funny, flawed, fierce Britt, was fading before their eyes. All because she tried to break free. All because Huntington's tore through her life too fast. All because she finally chose to do the right thing. 12. Rocco's final visit, and one last whisper that shatters hearts. Hours later, when the room emptied, Rocco slipped inside quietly. He climbed onto the chair beside Britt's bed and touched her limp hand. His voice trembled. I didn't mean to make you sad, he whispered. I didn't want you to go away. A tear fell onto Britt's fingers. You can wake up now, he pleaded. You're not allowed to say goodbye yet. The machines beeped steadily. But Britt didn't move. 13. Sidwell's fate, and Dante's vow. Back at the precinct, Sidwell sat in a holding cell, sneering. He didn't believe Britt would die. He didn't believe anyone would dare retaliate. He believed he was untouchable. Dante stood outside the cell, staring at him with raw, cold fury. You pushed her to this, Dante whispered. Sidwell shrugged. She was always falling apart. I just gave her a reason. Dante's fists clenched. You gave me one too, he said. A reason to make sure you never walk free again. 14. The final scene, a town praying for a miracle. Night fell over Port Charles. In the dim hospital room, Britt lay silent, breathing only because machines insisted she do so. Lulu cried quietly. Dante sat motionless, staring at her hands. Rocco slept curled up in a chair, clutching Britt's bracelet. No one spoke. No one dared break the quiet. But the grief in the room was a heavy, suffocating presence. Britt had finally broken free of Sidwell. She had saved herself. She had protected the people she cared for. But now her fate hung by the thinnest of threads. A baptism day meant for blessings had instead delivered devastation. Encouraging words turned to desperate prayers. Angry threats turned to arrests. And Britt slipped into darkness she might never return from. Port Charles wasn't ready to say goodbye. Not yet. Not after everything. Not after 6 small words from a child reminded her who she wanted to be at the end. General Hospital spoilers say that when it comes to Britt Westbourne, it seems like there are more observers that are tuning out than tuning in whenever they see her on the small screen. Is Steve Burton the reason why Britt came back? In fact, numerous observers believe that the only reason why the directors indeed brought the character back on the show is because Steve Burton might or might not have pulled his influence in icing that his character is romantically linked to Britt again. But is this a pairing that's indeed working presently? And indeed worse, does anyone indeed watch about Britt and Jason? That's what a lot of people want to know. Of course, GH suckers clearly did have a lot to say about the matter on social media. Some indeed reflected with, "I know Steve Burton wanted to give this a pass of a real chance story-wise," as he'd said when talking to the Brit actress on his podcast, "but the pens are those who gave us Willow and fumbled Nathan's return." What's coming for Britt? Another critic of the show wrote, "Britt's return is a bigger dud than the return of Luckless. Neither helped the conditions, neither was inescapably demanded back on the oil. The forced pairing of Jason and Britt is indeed turning off longtime Jason suckers." And also there was this comment as well: "I was done before she indeed returned. I saw the jotting on the wall. She's the worst, has brought nothing to the show, if anything has turned Jason, generally strong, into a weak character. I can't stay for her coming death scene." For now, don't forget that General Hospital airs weekdays on the ABC network. Check your original rosters for times. In the meantime, let us know what you suppose by leaving us a line with your studies in our commentary section below. Fans will see Britt Westbourne's crapulous collapse along with Sonny Corintho's blackmail discovery. Carly Spencer will also deal with a home eruption, so then's what suckers can anticipate. At GH, Carly will do her stylish to patch effects up with Lucas Jones, but Lucas will make it crystal clear where he stands. However, also she'll need to accept that Marco Rios is in Lucas' life, if Carly truly wants to make amends. Of course, Carly will remain concerned about Lucas' Windmere move and Marco's connection to Jen Sidwell, but she may promise she can keep any negativity to herself. As for Sidwell, he'll pay a visit to Sonny's place now that he's delivered blackmail news to Laura Collins. Sidwell has indicting prints of Laura and Sonny standing by her box with Professor Henry Hank Dalton outside, so he'll let Sonny know he's got the upper hand. "I've further than enough to put you and the mayor down," Sidwell declares confidently in Friday's GH exercise videotape. Sidwell may contend Sonny's going to follow orders from now on, starting with surrendering the peer Sidwell's been after for so long. While Sidwell forces Sonny into a tricky corner, Laura will shock Kevin Collins by bringing him up to speed. Kevin will reel over Sidwell's influence and maybe suppose it's time to tell the bobbies the whole unattractive story. Still, Laura will point out that she can't turn herself in without entwining Sonny. There's also the matter of Sidwell's veiled ace Cassadine pitfalls, so Laura may sweat she'll just have to play by Sidwell's rules. While Kai Taylor continues to support Trina Robinson, Jason Morgan will step up for Britt as well. Britt's had too important to drink at Brown Dog Bar, where she just dared Jason to kiss her. Jason may decline considering the state Britt's in and push her down if she tries to pull him into a lip cinch anyway. In Britt's room above Bobby's, it looks like she'll throw back indeed more booze. Britt will get so drunk that she takes a major spill in her room, so Jason will hear the commotion and come bursting outside. At some point, Britt will eventually let her walls down a bit with Jason and turn to him for the comfort she needs right now. Meanwhile, it looks like Jocelyn Jacks will lash out at Jack Brennan for transferring Vaughn down. Brennan may remind Jocelyn that she broke the rules along with Vaughn and refused to apologize for forcing Vaughn to face the consequences. Jocelyn's decision to argue with Brennan won't go over veritably well. Brennan will contend there's a line that Jocelyn is dangerously close to crossing, so he may advise her to stop before she faces consequences, too. Back with Carly, she'll get scarified when she hears someone creeping around her house. Carly will arm herself with a fireplace poker and try to attack a surprise meddler, but there could be a big twist. There's a good chance Valentine Cassadine escaped during his captivity transport and has come to meet Carly in person.